attitude do you have about that challenge? I've learned a long time ago, it is my attitude that determines my altitude. And I think it's your attitude that determines your altitude as well. I think it is a formula for success. Yes, we have had challenges in our construction business. Yes, it is difficult every day. Yes, there is a new challenge around the corner. But we're not going to sit back and talk about poor me. We're going to have to figure it out. And one of the things I had to figure out early in the business is I don't know what I'm doing. And I needed to have some help. I needed a partner that had years and years of experience. And what I mean by that, I needed someone that I can learn from. And you heard Gene's background in mentoring over 300 companies, small companies. And so I needed someone like him on my team. And when we got together, and that was my initial approach. But when we got together and had a conversation, I'm like, wait a minute. You're more than just a team member. You are a leader. You are an owner. Let's figure out how we're going to make this thing work, and you take us to the next level, and I will follow you. And while we're doing that, mentor me along the way. I humbled myself quite quickly to understand that I have certain strengths. And one of those strengths is networking, creating opportunities for our company, and learning from a guy like Eugene Walker. But let me just take you back a little bit on my history line. And it's no different than anything that you're doing in business because it parallels right along the way. You are a small minority women-owned business. I began playing football as a small, young, aspiring athlete, wanting to be very, very successful. You looked at people like Zachary and Joris and many others as great companies. Well, those companies began when you and I are right now. What you're seeing right now in those companies are products that are still in transition. And where you and I are at, we're in the same position. We're growing. We're learning. We're trying to get that wisdom and that knowledge to help sustain us so we become successful, small, perhaps someday larger companies. Well, there's a great deal of responsibility with that. And that responsibility is not only for you to become very, very successful, but for you to create opportunities for someone like you that's aspiring to be like you. We all have someone that we look to, including I. Roger Staubach happened to be a guy that I wanted to emulate when I was 7 years old. I wanted to play quarterback like Roger Staubach, all because he touched the football a lot. I tried it. I dropped back to pass, and I take off running with it. I rarely ever threw the ball. And I knew why, because I couldn't throw. But when I turned 9, something very special happened to me. A guy said, well, you cannot play quarterback. And I'm like, why? He's like, well, I got another guy. I want to put you back here, and I want you to run with the football. I'm like, okay, fine. As long as I'm on the football field, it doesn't matter. Just put me in the game. And I've been a running back ever since. Now, granted, I could have looked at that thing very negatively. But what that man did for me, I did not even realize how important of a decision that was for me. It set the tempo for the running back that I became and the one that you saw for 13 years with the Dallas Cowboys and 2 years with the Arizona Cardinals. The same old running back that began at the age of 9. That set me on a path. But what that did also for me, it created opportunities for me because when I was 11 years old, my coach, Charlie Egger, I was over his house one night, and I walked into his business office. And here it is, I'm thinking that this guy is just a football coach, not knowing that his everyday 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, if you will, in construction business is more like 7, in some cases 6:30 to about 3. This man was in the construction business, building houses, building office buildings, and so forth. But I was in his house, and here I am, a little African-American kid walking around in this white person's house, and I'm seeing this office, and I look at this board, and I don't have a clue what it is, and he starts to explain it. This is a drafting board, so what do you do with it? Well, I draw things on it. I put my plans up here. What are these plans? This is a floor plan to a building that I'm building. So what do you do for a living? I am in the construction business. I own my own construction company. I said, really? So you're not just a football coach? No. They don't pay enough to be a football coach in Pee Wee ball. I do that voluntarily. I do that voluntarily because I love kids. And he said to me, he said, you got great talent, and there's no telling how far you can go. But do not put all your eggs in one basket. Get your education, because someday your education is going to outlast anything that you do from a physical or an athletic career. Now, I retired at the age of 35. I like to think that's very young. Compared to some people, that's real young. To 18 and 13 and 14-year-old people, they think that's old. I got a new perspective on life right now. I'm 44 years old. I'm nowhere near old. I'm still working, I'm still vibrant, and I'm still hungry. And I'm not satisfied with the things that I've been able to accomplish. And the reason why, because my talent has made room for me. My talent has created opportunities. Your talent will create more opportunities for you. As Gene said, as you lead your organizations in the direction in which they should go, and you continue to manage your staff members and continue to encourage them and continue to expand upon your footprint and gain your market share in the area which you're in, your talent will continue to make more room for you too as well. Other doors that you never thought was there will be open for you as well. Things that I never dreamed I would have a chance to see in my lifetime have been revealed to me. New revelations every day, new challenges every day, but new opportunities every day. You have chosen a field because you saw an opportunity. I chose a field because I saw a tremendous opportunity. Granted, Gene and I got together because we both saw a unique opportunity to work with one another. Not only that, but to learn together with one another and to grow a business together with one another. But most importantly, to create opportunities for others. That's been our passion. That's been our mission. That's been our goal. Because I do know this, when this country's infrastructure is decaying very rapidly, and we have about $1 trillion of need of infrastructure, Zachary can't do it all. Joris can't do it all. Big companies, Kiewit, all of them cannot do it all that work by themselves. They need folks like you and I at the table performing our duties. And all I ever ask of anybody, and I ask this of my coaches in college, give me an opportunity. Gene said, be careful what you ask for. That's a true statement. Have anybody ever seen a dog catch a car? Has anybody ever seen a dog catch a car? When a dog catches up to a car, all it does is bark at the car. It doesn't do anything else. That's it. In life, though, when you want something and you catch up with it, you have to do something with it. And everything that we try to do, and I encourage you, everything that you try to do, try to figure out the plan before you catch up to it. Because being careful with what you ask for, you just might get it. It happened to me in real life. In college, as a freshman, I pleaded with my coach. Of course, my coach promised me that he would start me in the first game of the season against the University of Miami, which was a Jimmy Johnson coach football team with Micah Irvin and the rest of the Miami Thug Nation over there. So when we played Miami that year, he did not start me, and I was extremely disappointed. I did not play until the fourth quarter, and 5 minutes was left in the game, and we were already getting beat 31-4. So there was nothing I could do, but I was extremely disappointed. So I went to him, and I told him how disappointed I was, and he said to me, well, I didn't want to put you in the game against that group over there and you not have success. And I turned to my coach and I said this. I said, well, Coach, how do you know if I can handle the pressure unless I can handle the fire, unless you put me into the fire? He said, point well taken. And I felt very good and very confident because I told my coach what I thought of it. And I figured that that was enough to convince him to let me play the next week. Well, the following week came around, and they called it the starting lineup, and I wasn't on it. But I played. I got 15 carries, I had 2 touchdowns, and I rushed for 115 yards. And so now we're embarking upon that threshold where every college player, if you play too many games, you end up losing a year of college eligibility. So I had to go sit down and have another heart-to-heart talk with my coach. I said, listen, if you're not going to play me any more than you're playing me, please redshirt me so I can stay with my freshman class and not lose a year of college eligibility. Therefore, I would have 5 years of college, which is great. I could graduate early and go on and maybe grab my master's, which is fine. He said, well, we'll see after this week. So this is the week we're getting ready to play the University of Alabama. How many Crimson Tide fans do we have in here? Raise your hand. Roll Tide. Roll Tide, right? So we're getting ready to play the University of Alabama, and they call out the starting lineup. Be careful what you ask for. They call out my name, and I'm standing up here saying to myself right before the game, I'm like, oh my gosh, out of all the teams, the University of Alabama. I had to check myself because, you know, I was like, wow, this is big time. This is on national television too. And I said, be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. It's time to either put up or shut up. All I did that day was I scored 2 touchdowns. I rushed for 224 yards, broke a school freshman record. And that day, it was low tide because we beat them. We beat them. I say that not to just brag. I just say this because you want an opportunity to do big business. You want that same opportunity to showcase your talent. You want that same opportunity to say, yes, I can. Give me an opportunity. That's all you want. That's all we ever want is an opportunity to get in the game and to play so we can display our talents and make people like Zachary and many others whom we are working for, general contractors, including the federal government, if we have governmental work, or anybody that you're working for, you want to make them proud. Because for us, at the end of the day, the bottom line is to make sure that every man and woman that's working for us get home safe and able to take care of their families. There's no greater responsibility than knowing that we have to take care of the men and women that are working for us. Like Gene said, it's not easy when you're a small minority contracting company because sometimes you're trying to figure out how soon is that pay app is going to get in. And if that pay app doesn't get in on time, what are we going to do? And all I can say to the big companies is this. If you truly believe in the land of opportunity and truly believe that America is a free nation, then I say to the big contractors, you need to figure out a way to work and work diligently with small minority contractors. Because notice what I said about the infrastructure side. $1 trillion of upgrades that are needed in this country. You could take the top 4 or top 5 biggest contracting companies in the world, and their bonding capacity could not even reach it. That says that there's tremendous opportunity, and they need you and I at the table. So therefore, let's figure out the best practices, the best way to help one another to build America the way it needs to be built by American companies. That's what I truly believe. And that's the opportunities that we look for. And when we do such, you have the chance to grow capacity, even at the smallest level. But it's all a process. Because you don't give a baby McAllen 13 or McAllen 12. You give a baby Similac and you give them milk. You grow them slowly and you wean them slowly and you watch them grow and mature into young adults. That's how you do small businesses. Gene said control growth. That is such a true statement. Because oftentimes, our sights are so big. Our sights are so big, we want it right now. As a young man, I had my sights on becoming a professional athlete. I wanted to be that. But I also knew I was only 7 years old when I had that vision. But I knew that there was a process that I had to go to and had to go through. And that process was Pop Warner football. Then it was high school football. And then it was college football. And if I was fortunate and good enough, I would be selected by someone that wanted me. And that happened in 1990 when the Dallas Cowboys selected me. You have the same process as a small business. You don't just jump out and saying, I'm small today and tomorrow I'm going to be a $100 million company. And one thing I have learned throughout the process, you don't deal with thousands like you deal with 100,000s. And you don't deal with millions like you deal with 100,000s. And you definitely don't deal with multi-millions the same way you deal with thousands. There's always something to learn and the nuances there within all of that. And no better place to get it, that wisdom and understanding of how to manage it and how to deal with it, than folks that's been there, done there, and got a t-shirt for it. So always remain humble and always reaching out for that wisdom. I don't call it old people, I call it wisdom. Every person that's gray or non-gray, or any person that's older than I call them wisdom. And I try to sit there and soak as much of their knowledge as I possibly can. Sometimes you need to humble yourself in a room when wisdom is there and not speak, but listen and ask whatever questions you want, because those are very unique opportunities for you to grab some nuggets that can help you through life, within your business, and anything else that you're doing. That's something that I've learned. Could you imagine sitting in a room with Jerry Jones, Mr. Bob Kraft, and some other great NFL owners or NBA owners, and you talking to them, or they're having a conversation, and you have to ask yourself, what do I have to add? Possibly nothing. But would you just want to be a fly in the room just to hear their thoughts, hear how they see their business, their industry, hear some of their challenges, hear how they handle certain things, understand how they overcame certain things, how they got into business, what challenges they went through. Those are the things that I had the opportunity of asking David Zachary, a family-owned business. How do you deal with that? What are some of the nuances between you and your brothers and everybody else's? What make y'all so different? Well, I honestly believe as leaders, it's more